Hello guys, in this video we are going to discuss about the Bartsch reduction. So Bartsch reduction is basically the partial reduction of aromatic carbocycles or heterocycles. For example, we can partially reduce any benzene derivatives as well as heterocycles like pyridine derivatives, also pyrrole and furan derivatives. So here X can be either oxygen or nitrogen bonded with an alkyl or aromatic group. The reagent combination for Bartsch reduction is basically an alkali metal taken in liquid ammonia in presence of an alcohol. Generally, lithium, sodium and potassium are very useful for Bartsch reduction. These metals are basically taken in liquid ammonia, and also an alcohol is taken. The role of the alcohol is basically to supply the proton after the formation of carb anions. That we will discuss in the mechanism section. So these are basically the reagent combination, and the temperature is basically kept at minus 78 degrees centigrade. Other variations are also there where temperature is 0 degrees centigrade. So in general, the low temperature is highly essential for Bartsch reduction. So now let us consider a simplest example, that is the reduction of benzene ring. So for that we need metallic lithium in liquid ammonia in presence of ethanol, and the temperature is minus 78 degrees centigrade. This will give us 1,4-dihydrobenzene as the product. So you can see that benzene is basically partially reduced, not fully reduced. And also you have to understand that after this 1,4 reduction, this product is no longer going on further reduction. That we will also consider what is the factor that is basically stopping this reaction at this stage. So before we go into the mechanistic details, let us first understand what will happen when alkali metals are taken in liquid ammonia. So we all know that alkali metals basically contains one electron in their valence shell. So if we consider the electronic structure of lithium, it is 1s2 2s1. For sodium and potassium, it is 1s2 2s2 2p6 and 3s1, and in case of potassium it is basically 1s2 2s2 2p6 3s2 3p6 4s1. So as you can see that if they lose electron, that is after losing one electron for each metals, they will attain the nearest noble gas like configuration. So for that, for lithium it will attain helium configuration after losing the valence shell electron. For sodium it will be neon like configuration. For potassium it will be argon like configuration, and that's why they readily lose electron when they are taken in liquid ammonia, because the stabilizing factor here is after losing the electron is basically solvated by the ammonia molecules. So if we consider M as a general term for these metal ions, so after taking this metal in liquid ammonia, metal will release one electron and it will form a cation. So the cation is very stable, so it did not require any solvation or stabilization via solvation. Solvation will be there, but it is not highly unstable. Okay, the solvation is required for the electron, and to solvate it, ammonia molecules will basically surround the electron and they will solvate the negative charge or the electron. And during solvation, the color of the solution will become dark blue. So this is the characteristic color when alkali metals are taken in liquid ammonia. Immediately a dark blue color will generate in the reaction mixture, and after a long time this color will basically fade out and the solution will become colorless. Why this is so? This is so because this electron will react with ammonia and thereby form amide. You all know amide is a very strong base, and hydrogen gas will be produced. So at this stage, the solution will be highly reducing in nature. But after the formation of NaH2 minus, there will be no reducing properties of that solution. So the Barch reduction will have to be carried out immediately, taking the alkali metal in liquid ammonia. So what is the reducing species here? The reducing species is obviously the electron. If we consider some more characteristics of solvated electrons, the properties of solvated electrons, then the solution will be paramagnetic if the electron concentration is less. Since the electrons, if we consider the spin of one electron like this electron will be basically solvated by ammonia molecules. So this region is basically the solvent cage, and within the solvent cage one unpaired electron will be there, and due to this unpaired electron the paramagnetic property will be in the resulting solution. But as soon as the concentration of the electron is increased, the solution will eventually become diamagnetic. That is, no magnetic property will be there. And why the diamagnetic property? That is because with increase in the electron concentration in the medium, this unpaired electron will pair up with another electron, and thereby the magnetic property of the solution will decrease, and that's why the diamagnetic property will arise. So these are some basic concept about the alkali metals in liquid ammonia. So now let us consider the actual mechanism of Barch reduction. So if we consider the reduction of benzene itself, then in the first step, electron which is solvated by ammonia will basically attack this benzene ring. So which molecular orbital will accept this electron? Obviously, there must be a low lying antibonding orbital. You all know the molecular or pi molecular orbitals for benzene. So if we consider the LUMO, that is the lowest unoccupied molecular orbital for benzene, then they look like this. So two antibonding orbitals are there which are of same energy level, and they are basically called degenerate antibonding orbitals. So what will be the picture of them? And this will be another antibonding orbital. So either of these two orbitals can accept this particular electron from the reaction medium. Now if we draw the curve arrow notation for the attack by this single electron to this benzene ring, then it will look like this. The electron will attack at any of these 6 carbon atoms. This double bond will break, and it will eventually break and form a negative charge at this position, which is 4 position with respect to this particular carbon atom. So there will be a formation of radical anion. Right? So here you should ask one question, that why the anion is forming at the 4 position with respect to this particular radical. This is because if suppose this is the radical anion, where the radical and the anion are adjacent with each other, then what will happen? There will be a electron repulsion which will be very strong, and it will be very destabilizing for this particular species, and that's why it always try to not form during the reaction. Always this intermediate will form. So as soon as this intermediate form, which is known as radical anion intermediate, it will eventually capture one proton from the alcohol which we have employed during the reaction. So in this case, the alcohol is ethanol. So this negative charge will abstract the acidic hydrogen from the alcohol, and it will give us the corresponding radical. So the negative charge is gone, only the radical is there. So this radical will then again react with another electron, and it will form the corresponding anion. And after that, again this negatively charged center will abstract one H plus from ethanol, and thereby the 1,4-dihydrobenzene will be obtained as the product. So as you can see, these two hydrogens are basically coming from two alcohols. And now here are some interesting things. So this negatively charged species, which is highly basic in nature, so the radical anion is highly basic. It will always try to abstract acidic hydrogen atoms if hydrogen is available in the reaction mixture. So there are two options. One is ammonia itself and another is the alcohol molecule. So obviously the acidity of ethanolic hydrogen is higher than that of ammonia hydrogens because oxygen has higher electronegativity. And another thing is that this radical anion is not so much basic that ammonia can supply proton to it, and that's why we need ethanol. Okay, so it is basic, this radical anion is basic but not too basic, and that's why we need an additional proton source, which is ethanol. Another interesting thing about the alcohol is, suppose there is formation of NH2 minus, there will be always a little bit NH2 minus will form in the reaction mixture, because during the reaction electron will react with ammonia and will form NH2 minus in situ. So if there is NH2 minus, then it will always try to isomerize this particular product. So how the isomerization will work? Suppose we have this particular 1,4-dihydrobenzene. So NH2 minus being a very strong base, it will always try to abstract one of these four available hydrogens. So after proton abstraction, this bonding electron pair will form a double bond, and this double bond will break and form a carbanionic center. This will be in equilibrium. So here will be the negatively charged center. So right now this negatively charged center can abstract a proton from ammonia. This step will be also in equilibrium, and eventually the isomerized product will be obtained after the reaction is complete. But to avoid this, ethanol is there because as soon as this NH2 minus is formed in the reaction medium, it will eventually react with ethanol because ethoxide will form after the proton abstraction, and ethoxide is comparatively stable base or weaker base compared to NH2 minus. So this equilibrium will always be like this. The favored pathway will be always the formation of ammonia and ethoxide, and ethoxide has no power to isomerize the product. Okay, so only NH2 can isomerize the product 1,4-dihydrobenzene to 1,2-dihydrobenzene. Ethoxide cannot promote this isomerization, and that's why alcohol is also taken. So alcohol basically plays two roles. Okay, so now let us consider what will be the situation when there will be an electron withdrawing group attached with the aromatic system. Let's say we have a carboxylic acid group attached with the benzene ring, and during that situation, if we react it with lithium in liquid ammonia in presence of ethanol at minus 78 degrees centigrade, then what will be the product? So here what will happen at the first step, electron will attack the electron deficient center of these 6 carbon atoms of the benzene ring. So which are the electron deficient centers? Obviously minus R, if the benzene ring is attached with a group which has minus R effect, then the ortho positions are electron deficient as well as the para position. Okay, but after the attack, but if the electron attacks the ortho position, then there will be a formation of adjacent radical anion that is not favorable, and that's why electron will attack at the para position. And after this attack, the radical anion will form, which will be very stable. And why stable, you will understand that. So this is the radical anion. So as you can see, this minus charge will be stabilized via conjugation. So here in basic medium, this hydrogen will be not there because it will be a carboxylate salt when it will be taken in liquid ammonia, because this acidic hydrogen of the carboxylic acid will be consumed by the base. So it will be negatively charged. So now the stabilization, you can see that the minus R effect of this carboxylate group will stabilize this particular carbon ion, and we will eventually get the resonating form, which will look like this. Right. So after that, another electron will attack this particular radical center, and it will give us the corresponding anion. So here is the interesting thing. Although we have taken ethanol, but this particular negatively charged center will not abstract the acidic hydrogen from ethanol. Why this is so? Because it is so stabilized, so highly stabilized by the carboxylate anion group adjacent to it, and that's why due to its very high stability, it will not abstract any proton from the medium or from the ethanol. Okay, so this center, this newly formed negatively charged center, will abstract proton from ethanol, and it will form this particular species. and now we need to perform an acidic aqueous workup to get the final product, because in reaction mixture there is no sufficiently acidic molecules which can protonate this particular carbon ion center, and to protonate this center we need acidic aqueous workup. So as soon as acid will be there, this particular negative center will be attacked by the proton, and this O minus will abstract a H plus, and it will give us the corresponding 1,4-dihydro compound. So this will be the product. Okay, so this is the overall mechanism when a electron withdrawing group is there. Another very interesting thing is this: if we do not perform this acidic workup step, and if we directly put there an electrophile, then instead of attacking this H plus in aqueous workup step, it will now attack this particular electrophile. Let's say, for example, if we draw the structure of that anion again, so at this stage, instead of doing aqueous workup, if we employ ethyl iodide, let's say, so this ethyl will behave as the electrophile, and ethyl will get attacked from this carbon ion center, and iodide will leave the system, and this will give us an interesting compound, which is this one. And then if we perform the aqueous workup or acidic aqueous workup, we will get the corresponding acid derivative. Right. So these are the synthetic applications. So now let us consider the situation when there is an electron donating group is attached with benzene ring. Suppose we have anisole. In this situation, if we treat anisole with lithium in liquid ammonia in presence of ethanol at minus 78 degrees centigrade temperature, then what will be the product? So to understand that, we need the mechanism again. So here the electron will attack the electron. Being a negatively charged entity, will always try to attack the electron deficient center. In the above case, the electron deficient centers are the ortho and para positions. But here, as we all know that electron donating groups are basically ortho and para directing. So the ortho and para positions will be electronically rich. So electron will never attack those centers. Instead of attacking those centers, electron will now attack the meta positions, because meta positions will be comparatively electron deficient compared to other positions, right? And that's why the electron will attack this meta position, and the negative charge will form in the 4 position with respect to the radical center. So this will be the radical anion. Right? And as soon as this radical anion is formed, it will immediately abstract a proton from ethanol, which will give us the radical intermediate, and the radical will again react with another electron and produce the second anion, which will then abstract the hydrogen or the proton from ethanol. Right? So this will be our final product when electron donating groups are there. Now the interesting thing is, if we treat it with H plus without the presence of or in absence of any trace amount of water, then the product will be this one. But if you treat this with acidic aqueous solution, then the product will be this one. So depending on the reaction conditions, we can obtain two different products starting from a single starting material. So what will be the mechanism in these two cases? So if we consider this particular instance, then in the first step what will happen, this oxygen lone pair will assist the protonation of this particular double bond like this, and it will give us this particular intermediate. And now two hydrogen atoms are available in this position. So either of these two hydrogen will form a new double bond, and one H plus will leave from the system, and thereby it will produce a more stable situation or more stable product where the conjugation will be present. So initially there was no conjugation, but after treating with croton or strong acid, we will get a product where there will be stabilization via conjugation. So this is the mechanism when this product is basically 1,4-dihydro product is basically treated with strong acid. But if we treat it with acidic aqueous solution, then what will be the mechanism? Here also the first step will be the protonation of this particular double bond. So this is basically an enol ether. Enol ether. So in this situation, the hydrolysis of the enol ether will take place. Let us see how the mechanism will operate. So after protonation, this will be the product. And now since water is present in the reaction medium, it will immediately attack this activated carbonyl center since the oxygen is positively charged, and it will give us a hemiacetal. One H plus will be attached with the OH group. In the next step, the H plus will leave this oxygen and will attach with this particular oxygen, and it will give us the new protonated intermediate or protonated hemiacetal. Right? And in the next step, methanol will leave the system along with the formation of a carbonyl bond or carbon oxygen double bond. In the next step, this oxygen hydrogen bond will break and H plus will leave the system in order to produce this particular cyclohexanone derivative. Right? And now these hydrogens and also these hydrogens, these two alpha hydrogens are acidic in nature. So in acidic medium, what will happen? They will form a carbon-carbon double bond, and this particular double bond will break and it will attack the H plus which is present in the reaction medium. So basically there is an isomerization step will be observed, right? So this is basically very useful synthetic application to prepare alpha beta unsaturated cyclohexanone derivative, right? So these are the two synthetic application after batch reduction of aromatic compounds which are attached or containing electron donating groups like methoxy. So if there is NN dimethyl group, NN dimethyl amine group instead of OMe group, then after the reaction we will get this particular compound. Okay, so this will be the product when there is NN dimethyl amine group in place of methoxy. So remember this. So this is it for this video. In the next videos, I will bring some more important examples regarding batch reduction. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video.